All right, dude, we're fucking in. Dun 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 dun. Bro, turn your shit off.
Are we starting?
We're in. We're fucking.
Oh,
you
fuck.
son of a bitch. We're in.
You son of a bitch! I'm in!
What up, everybody?
What's up, everyone?
It's White and Rice.
That's right, we're back.
I'm Dylan,
Joey.
and you know how this works. We fucking watch movies, and then we create thoughts in our brain, opinions, if you will, and then we talk about them, and we film it, and then we put it on the internet, and you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. But it's been a little bit of a rocky season. Some of you may think it's because of COVID, but it's actually not that. You see here, Joey lost his entire work ethic, and with that, several episodes, and by several I mean 2, and
Is this what day is this?
we're catching back up.
What the fuck do you expect? I mean, this has been a social experiment on what it's like to have universal basic income. And obviously we know now
That Joey can't handle free money.
most people, as well as myself, can't handle free money because the work ethic plummets.
Sorry, Andrew Yang. I guess we've
Dives off
proven
a
the
cliff.
point wrong. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the first movie that we've seen in theaters since probably February.
First, this is not my house.
Oh, yeah. I didn't move to LA, so I'm still in Shitville, Tennessee. Actually, Portland, Oregon.
We are in
Anyway,
Tennessee.
so this is the first movie that we've seen in theaters since February.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome going to a theater to watch a movie.
Yes. It's
And-
out in Hood River. Fucking dope.
We also saw this during the most intense smoke storm / firestorm in like the history of the West Coast, I think. And
It was nuts.
it was gross and it was weird. Everything is gross and weird these days. Anyways, we went to a movie theater. We saw a fucking movie. That movie was Tenet. Oh, we have a lot to talk about here.
What do you mean? What are we talking about? I don't even understand what we would talk about.
Yeah, exactly. What are we going to talk about?
I don't know.
Well, let's start with the things that worked.
Are we talking about like images on a screen? Is that what we're talking about? Because that's pretty much what I got out of it.
Yeah. So let's start with the things that worked. So I liked the cast. I liked the wardrobe. The cinematography was cool.
Typical Christopher Nolan, you know, editing.
The style.
The score.
Again, awesome.
Yes, all awesome.
So these are all the pros. These are all the things that worked. And I think that it's being generous to point out the things that worked because there's a cascading waterfall of things that just, for the common viewer and maybe even a slightly more specific viewer, it's too Nolan.
The things that worked are the things that are trivial or superfluous or it's like...
Well, they don't hold up the foundation of the film.
Exactly.
Yeah. The aesthetic qualities of the movie were great.
This movie can be compared to like buying a fucking Honda Civic that looks like a Ferrari. And inside it's a piece of shit. The outside looks great.
Wait. What?
What out?
Replace the drivetrain of a Honda Civic and put it in a Ferrari.
Oh, you mean take okay, doesn't matter.
The outside looks good, the inside is shit.
That's what's going on with this movie. So let's unpack like what's wrong. The first thing for me was it is within Christopher Nolan's wheelhouse of making it difficult to hear dialogue.
Yeah, what the fuck was that all
However,
about?
he went so far. So an example of this
it
was like Bane's
Bane
character.
all over again.
Yeah, like which that was a common complaint in Batman, but this is like unbearable. I would say somewhere between 60 to 70% of everything in the movie, all the dialogue is impossible to hear.
I said, I was going to ride.
Add on to that the confusion.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll
Right,
get to the
but
storyline.
but that matters so much because in the beginning you need to understand what's going on.
Yes.
And you can't because of the audio.
But also because nothing is ever really explained. In the first couple parts of the movie, you kind of like, okay, I'm watching a Christopher Nolan movie. We'll get some tidbits of information along the way. We'll follow some of the characters intently. We'll pick up on something. But legitimately, there is never, ever a sequence in this movie that actually adds up or has any sort of conclusion where you're like, oh, okay, so that's how that thing works, which makes it so this all kind of makes sense.
None of it.
And not being able to hear adds to further confuse the viewer.
Yeah, and you may be even more confused by our description or explanation of it because it was such a confusing movie.
Sure.
Storyline, plot.
So
At the point at which the main character is talking to someone that's important, that is going to explain what's going on, she literally goes, "Don't think about it, just accept it."
Oh,
Remember her?
yeah.
Right then I was like,
yeah, I remember
Fuck.
that part. Yeah.
like, that was the get out of jail free card that they used to be like, don't really think about like what's going on here in this story and the physics or the logistics of everything. Like, just go with it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can do that, but with this movie, there's nothing explained.
There's also, a lot of hype around this movie, so there's
Christopher Nolan, right?
Yeah, but there's also some expectation that you're going to get one of those big box films that when the movie finishes, you're like, cool movie, like, that was a good time, I enjoyed it. Anyway, so I want to get back to, like, just the storyline at its base. So, and we're not going to reveal anything or do any spoilers, and we're going to keep this pretty straightforward. If anyone saw the trailer, it never made any sense, and I kind of expected that maybe that would be explained in the movie. It's not. But you have a main character who does not have a name. He's literally called the protagonist. He has so right off the get-go, you have this main character who you don't really ever attach to because his character is not really developed. He is essentially thrown into this scenario after what he thought was experiencing death. He doesn't die, and he's in this scenario where he is essentially given a mission, and he gets one word, which allows him to make progress throughout this mission.
He goes through a trial where he's supposed to die. These
Yeah.
people that killed him thought he died. He really didn't. He goes through a trial. It's kind of like Born Identity style. Like, he's in this clandestine group, organization.
Yeah. Which you don't know.
Which you don't know anything about. And like you said, they give him the one word, like...
Tenet.
Tenet.
Yeah.
That was the title of the movie. Cool.
Yeah. And so he's given this one word, and then he has to go through this whole crazy variety of situations that's getting him closer to understanding something that has to do with something that's shown in the trailer, which is matter that is reversed in time. So you see in the trailer, there's like some fights that are happening in reverse, and there's some bullets that are moving backwards back into the gun. So that's kind of like the movie is centered around that. He's trying to understand why that's happening and determines it's from some sort of a nefarious origin, and then has to stop that origin from taking place. That's pretty much the whole movie, like zoomed like way the fuck out.
Yeah, it is. And it's a fustercluck. It is...
Make your point about the main character, though, about how he holds himself in the film.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. That's not a spoiler. I did not like his acting whatsoever. You mentioned that he's in the Black Klansman, which I haven't seen yet. I've heard good things. Mm-hmm. And you said you liked him in there.
So good.
Right.
So good.
I hated his acting in this movie, and I'm not saying it's him as an actor, but you have this guy, you're introduced to him as he's like basically a spec ops kind of guy. He's badass, like special forces, right? He's not suave. He's not debonair. He's not James Bond.
He's also not that badass.
Right. He's not. He's just some guy.
He's not even that great of an agent.
He just didn't give up information, and that's why he was allowed in.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the point here is, for me, is I don't really think it's his acting. I didn't like how his character was written. The scenes of his character just felt like they just throw him in this scene. They throw him into some kind of cool ass outfit. And then he does some shit, and it's just like, what? Like, I don't care.
Well, he went from being some special forces dude to being introduced into and accepted into this, organization.
Yep.
There's so many. In every scene, he's playing a different person, a different character. And what I mean by that is, in this scene, he's playing Jason Statham, where he's kind of rough on the edges and kind of
throw some punches.
Brutish.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, he's playing James Bond. But in the next scene after that, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. The next scene after that, he's back to James Bond, but he's still a little confused. Like, his character was all over the place. It's like, what is he? And then the way he stood, he kind of like slouched a little bit. So
he just wasn't.
You're expecting someone to be strong.
He just wasn't confident. The confidence wasn't there.
There is no confidence. You don't slouch when you're confident. You don't slouch when you're James Bond, when you're The Rock, when you're any character like that, right? Any protagonist that is supposed to be doing what this character is supposed to be doing. So it was his character and his acting was literally all over the place, and it annoyed the crap out of me because it's just like, I don't know, who is this guy?
Yeah, in short, the protagonist, who's named the protagonist, does not sell the character. There's a very, very obvious lack of continuity in his personality and behaviors, and as like the main character, it's just like it kind of pulls you out of giving a shit. To add to that, there is a very, very weird relationship that the protagonist has with a female trope in the show. So,
this isn't really a spoiler.
This isn't a spoiler, but there's a female character who I believe is shown in the trailer, and they have this relationship that seems to have some sort of romantic trajectory, but it's also extremely platonic. And the protagonist, throughout as the film develops, has he's extremely invested in her, even though like whether or not she lives or dies or even exists, it just does not fucking matter. But
the scenario would be essentially you meeting
one of Joey's metaphors.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it. I don't know. Literally, it's like if you were to meet a coworker going through a difficult time and you're trying to help them out, then all of a sudden you two fall in love for no fucking reason.
I think it's
like
more
literally
like,
no reason.
I think it's more like you live in Oklahoma and there's a tornado alert and you're like, oh fuck, we need to get out of here. So you get in your car and you're driving as fast as you can, and then there's some chick on the side of the road, and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm not going, and not only are you in the car, the whole world's in the car with you. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to put all of us at risk because I got to pick up this chick who I don't know, who does not fucking matter to me at all. And then you stop, and then the tornado almost kills you and the whole world.
Yeah, no, or you pick her up, and then she goes, oh, I got to go back and get
there you go.
Get something out of my house.
So you drive all the...
And everybody in the world's like, no, don't do that. This doesn't make any sense. There's a tornado back there. And you're like, no, but I love her. No, everybody's like, but you just met her. And you're like, no, but I love her. I got to go back.
And also the love is based on nothing. And you don't even know if it
absolutely nothing.
You also don't really know if it is love.
It is the stupidest storyline in the fucking world. I hated it so much. Because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
So, okay, now to give the storyline just a fraction of credit to just balance out this conversation is that on our drive back from the theater, we listened to a bunch of descriptions of the film, a bunch of great reviewers online who kind of broke it down. And we picked up a little bit more of what was supposed to be happening and transpiring within this movie. When you get to breaking it down a little bit more, it has a little bit more intrigue. And you're like, okay, like, that's kind of cool. But the whole fucking problem is you don't get any of that when you watch it.
The whole problem is that when you watch these people break it down, they've spent hours watching this movie, watching it over and over again probably, and then they finally figured out, okay, I kind of see what he was doing there.
Totally.
Whereas like in the movie, you have
no idea.
Nothing.
And some of the more interesting parts, too, are just assumptions or, like, fan fiction. It's just...
Dylan and I were the only ones in the theater, and we were yelling throughout the movie, just being
I would have been yelling if we weren't the only ones in the theater.
We had no idea what was going on.
And here, look, you may just think that Joey and I are a couple dumbass meatheads. And look, we are. But we also watch a lot of movies, and we really do try our best to cue into what the fuck is going on. But here's the thing. Christopher Nolan went too deep up his own asshole on this film.
And it will be like a taco inside a taco within a Taco Bell that's inside a KFC within a mall that's inside your drain.
And I'm definitely going to go watch it again. I think that I do want to just give it another shot.
I'll watch it again.
But I got to say, if you had a hard time enjoying Inception, do not even go near this movie. If you loved Inception, like I think Inception's a good like like, you know, what the fuck am I trying to say? It's a good like marker of like gauging your intrigue. If you liked Inception, check this movie out. But
Inception is at the point of insanity. Like, it's just like right before it's like...
Yes, it's still... you can still consume the movie and enjoy it and pick up certain things and attach yourself to some of the characters.
All of the above. You can still understand it for the most part, right? But this one is just like, no.
I really want people who see this... who watch this movie to get in touch with us and let us know what you think. Seriously, I am so fucking curious to discuss this movie with people who've seen it.
Taking, quantum physics in the 11th grade. You don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it's like taking quantum physics in 11th grade and it's taught by a 4th grader.
I was just gonna say that was made up by a 5th grader or something.
And that's essentially what it is. Anyways, that's Tenet, folks. White and Rice is back online. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Again,
how many bowls of rice?
I hate to do this, but I this is like half of a bowl of rice for me. Like,
This is like half an Italian sausage for me.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's not a lot. Yeah. Half a bowl of rice, half an Italian sausage. Fucking take that for whatever it's worth. And yeah, try to feed your family off that.
Let us know what you think, though.
Yep. And until our next episode, go...